Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're working on this Craftsman, silver Craftsman, 5-horse, 24-inch snowblower. These old silver Craftsman units were really good. This one is a Survivor. Man, this thing is nice. Most of the original paint on it. It's got some touch-ups here and there with some great paint over the years, but there's no real rust on it. This is built well. It's not all spot welded. This is all bolted in. This whole panel's bolted on. Everything's bolted together. Some seamed welds here, but they're welds. Everything works super easy. Even the transmission shifts. Shift with one thumb. I'm not even going to take it apart. There's no need to service that. There's nothing wrong with it. Problem with this machine is it doesn't run. Won't start. It's got fresh gas in it, you prime, it'll start dripping out of the carburetor, but it will not start. So up inside the carburetor is going to be all plugged up. We're going to have to pull that off and soak it, clean it. It's an older unit. Like I said, it's got an adjustable main jet and probably an adjustable low-speed jet too. If I can see in there. Yep, looks like it. So, it's also even got a little drain on it on the bottom of the carburetor. So let's give that a push. Lots of times what happens is they sit and they get water in them. Try and catch it. It's running down my finger. But this is usually a good indicator of water because you'll see it in there. Nah, it's not even old. That's fresh gas. Well, we're going to fix the carburetor. We're going to get it running. We're going to check the belts. I've already inflated the tires up because they were flat. Almost off the bead. We give it a quick general once over and check it out. But yeah, customer brought this to me last night. I told him I'd probably get in the shop today and get working on it, and we'll see what we can find. Well, the ultrasonic cleaner is warming up. Let's get this taken apart and have a look at her. So I've taken the cotter pin out of the end of this auger control just to get it out of our way. Gives us better access to the carburetor. Should be a flat screw here. It's missing one. Let's see if I can match one up. Should just be a regular machine screw. One screw there. 8mm on the top, 5/16. Let's get the choke knob off. The key, safety key can stay. The throttle's separate. This is a slotted piece, so we can just slide that off. We'll have our kill wire there. Does it come off easy? Sometimes they come off easy. That's screwed on. I don't think it'll be in the way. If it is, we'll get to it. A little dirty, a little old varnish on the top. Nothing crazy. Everything appears to be, all the levers appear to be levering. I need a new gasket on the bowl. Okay, so I'll get my hose pincher offers. There's no valve on this one. No shut-off valve, so I'm going to pinch the hose off over at the tank, and that'll allow us to get the fuel line and everything off. Got them pinched off. Push our bowl drain here to see if it stops. Slow it down. Well, maybe it's not quite enough. Pinch it off a little more. I got a pair of needle nose vice grips with a little bit of pressure here. It should help out. Just Don't want to damage the hose when you do that, so don't clamp them down there like stupid tight. That should fix that problem. What do we need, 7/16? Yep. So we can catch that. Most of that anyway. Adjustable carburetor. Main and low speed. It's an oldie. I'm not making any jet adjustments here. I'm just going to unthread it and see what we got. Brass float. No junk in the carb. Perfectly clean. In the bowl anyway. We'll set that. There's our main jet. Adjustable. Actually, the bowl wasn't on there correctly. There's a step in the bowl here. So the float, let me put the jet down. The step in this bowl, there's a low end and a high end. The float's supposed to be able to sink down into this low end. But what it was is this bowl was actually on there this way. So the float wouldn't have been going down far enough. That's not to say that's our problem, but that is a problem that we're going to fix. Huh. Well, we're still going to pull it apart. Have a look-see. This is our primer line. Primer hose. Fuel line. Where's my pliers? Main fuel line. Gently now. There's plastic parts in here. Just come off. Don't want to break these things. There we go. Starting to move easy. The little inlet elbow is plastic and old and brittle. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go. That was just the two nuts and the throttle linkage. 7/16. Okay, well, let's get her on the bench, get it tore apart, try and get that emulsion tube out of there. It's looking like it's brass, so it might come out easy. Alright, so I messed around a little bit with that emulsion tube, trying to get in there. With these 5-horse engines, the carbs are small, it's hard to get anything in there to push, so I ended up having to take the throttle plate off. That'll allow us to take the shaft out and get better access to it, but theirs are spring-loaded, so you gotta be careful. Don't mangle that. Little spring unhooked here. I should be able to slide that right out. Just like that. Now you can see that little beast in there that we're trying to get out. Maybe. Probably not. It's dark. It's right at the bottom there anyways. It's a brass tube. Don't want to mangle it. Holy smokes, that is not coming out. I don't want to break it. Ultrasonic cleaner does a pretty good job, so I'm just going to let that do its thing. Let's see where this mixture's set at. Oh, hang on. Customer coming. Okay, where were we? Oh, I think we're getting this mixture screw out. So we're going to count how many turns it takes to go in. Half. 1. Well, that's pretty low because it's lightly seated now. So it was at 1 turn. We're probably going to have to adjust that. Seems a little low, but you never know. Okay, that'll go separately into the ultrasonic cleaner. I'm not going to take anything else off of this. I don't need to. It'll all just go for a bath. I did give this a shake. There's no fuel in it, so it's not... It's called a sunk float, but there's no cracks in it. Let's see what we got for our main adjustment. Half, 1, half, and a bit. Okay. You guys have to remember that because I won't. So that jet, the main jet, controls how much fuel is consumed by the engine at high speeds. This is your low speed. That's a little bit of fuel in to the side of the throat here. All right, let's get all this stuff in the ultrasonic cleaner. Let it soak for a little bit. Then we'll push wires through the holes we can see and put it back on the machine. All right, she's out of the cleaner. Came out pretty nice. Got our initial settings. That should be 1 turn out from lightly seated. That should be 1.5. So we were pretty close. But anyway, whatever. Let's get her on there. Gasket is good. See if we can get these nuts started. There's another way to do it. You could take it off of the cylinder head up here, but I don't know if I have a gasket that small for these little Tecumsehs. 5 horse is a common snowblower size, but most around here are 8s or bigger. It's just we get more snow, so we get bigger machines. It's just small differences between the 5 horse and the 8 horse Tecumseh snowblower engine. We're going to see if this just works. And if it doesn't, then we'll check for spark. Oh no. Dummy. Didn't get the linkage in there. Anyways, I'll take it off again, put the linkage in, and then hook the rest up. That was painless. Loosen off this one, took this one out, just tilted the carb down on the one bolt and hooked it up. So let's get our fuel line on there now. Yeah, spring clip. Got me on the end of my finger. That stings. On a side note, I think my ultrasonic cleaner might be on the way out. It's not making the same annoying racket that it used to. It's not quite cleaning the way it used to. To be fair, it's cleaned hundreds of carburetors. Might have worn it out. Okay. Choke works. There's our throttle linkage. This is set initial. There's no air filter, so I'm not going to worry about that. If I have to adjust it, it's a lot easier to do it this way. There is a hole in the front of the cover, provisions for adjusting your idle speed and your mixture here. The 8 horse ones that were adjustable, that mixture is on the side here, and there's a hole in the front of the cover to do that. So I'm not going to worry about this cover for now. I am going to loosen off my hose pincher offers to make sure that carb doesn't overflow. because it should fill that bowl and the float should shut it off. Yeah. Huh. All right. Gonna let that sit a minute. I'm gonna lower it down. Actually, let's make sure we're getting fuel in there. Oh yeah. Pushing the little drain here. Now you notice the drain's on the back now because that bowl is on correctly. Anyway, I didn't see anything terrible inside that carburetor. We're gonna zoom you out. I'm gonna lower the hoist and see if the thing will run. All right, let's see if this beast will run. Choke's on. Well, half throttle-ish. We're gonna prime it till it drips. It probably says 3 times or something on a sticker, but I usually give it a little bit more. Unless I can see it. Well, let's see what happens. A little more priming. Huh. Huh. Now let's check for spark. Oh boy. Actually, no, I'm not going to check for spark. I'm just going to put a new plug in it. New plug. Let's see what happens. Huh. Doesn't look wet, which would usually indicate that you're getting fuel with no spark. Let's just try it. Fired and died. Let's give her a little more idle mixture. Yeah, we gotta set these mixtures yet. I'm gonna fire it up, let it warm up, and then we'll get the mixture set. That's not good. Those shouldn't be turning right now. All right, to get it to run and fire up, I just opened up the main a little bit. We got water boiling off the top of the cylinder head here. I just opened up the main jet a little bit and then it ran fine. Let it run, get warmed up, and then it was just, you could see the governor arm, I could, just barely moving back and forth, back and forth. So I just gradually increased the fuel on the main and that till that figured itself out. Set it down to an idle, and the idle mixture is perfect. So that's all good. That works great. We gotta look into why those augers are turning though, because that's not supposed to happen when you're not on the lever. It's a safety issue. So I'm gonna get it lifted back up. I'm gonna put this cover back on. I'll put the auger chute goes where it wants to arm on. We'll pull that belt cover off, have a look-see. There you go. That spark plug, which is not that old and not that dirty, and it is gapped correctly, was the culprit. You never know. All right, let's get that belt cover off of there, because that ain't right. I did find a new screw for this, and I did have a gasket, new gasket for the carburetor bowl. So those are both installed. Now, what is going on in here? Belts actually look good. Let's see if I can turn the machine a little bit so you guys can see what I'm seeing. No, I can't. Huh. Well, that's bottomed right out. It's as loose as it possibly can get. The belt doesn't actually even feel like it's tight. Feels like it's loosened right off. A little bit of play in that back bearing there. Look down the bottom. Oh, there's snake skins in there. I can't say I've seen that before. Looks like a little garter snake skin in the bottom of the belly. That's interesting. The belts are definitely not original, because they'd be rotten off by now, and however old this machine is, 40 years old or something. There is no adjustment anywhere. It could be that the belt is just a tiny bit too small for the machine. Possibly. And that would hold too much tension on it. Just rolling it around here to see if I can see a number. Yeah, there's a number. 4L. Uh-oh. Can't read it. 4L300. Well, I know I don't have a belt for this machine. There's actually also a brake here. I think it's a brake. Looks like a brake. It is a brake. And it can be adjusted. All right. Got to get you out of the tripod for this. And we don't go on road trip very often. But here you are out of the tripod. So there's a wedge in there, that white piece right here. And that wedge is in the V of the pulley. And that is controlled by this arm, which is positioned by this bracket, which is held by these two nuts and bolts, which is, if I can get there, maybe. Anyways, it's slotted and adjustable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen that bracket off to the point where this rod will go down farther, and that should allow the brake to sit farther in the pulley. We'll see. There we go. That's better. All right, so let's close out this video here. We got it running. Did a carb clean. Wasn't overly necessary. There was a little tiny bit of stuff in there, but the real culprit was going to be that spark plug. It is what it is. You can check for spark, you check for fuel. There's a number of different ways to go about it. He told me he already checked for spark, so we went with it. New plug fixed it. Runs good. Actually, it runs really, really nice. I find that most of these old machines that have adjustable carburetors, you can adjust them for your altitude and your atmospheric conditions. They run so much better when you can fine-tune them instead of using a fixed jet that is supposed to work everywhere. You can make them run more efficient this way. What they do with the new stuff is they run it very lean for emissions. So if you're high altitude on an emissions engine, that isn't going to run very well at all. You'll have to open up jets, but they don't have adjustable jets anymore. Anyways, thanks for joining me, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you do subscribe, click that bell icon. It'll let you know when I upload new stuff. I'm going to call the customer and get him to get his snowblower out of here. Till the next one, take care.